we all have this narrative about who it is we are, what we're capable of, what's possible for us, what our future may look like, this internal dialogue or narrative that goes on in our heads. And that dialogue shapes the way that we see the world. It shapes how we feel. It shapes how we behave and act. And when that story or mental narrative is clear and empowering and it aligns with our goals, it can become this sort of compass, and it helps us filter the world so we notice opportunities, patterns, and signs that support our vision or our goals. Now, in school, I majored in psychology. Now, I didn't have the best grades in school, but the classes in which I really enjoyed, I did well in. And a lot of the psych classes that I took, I did really enjoy. And I didn't have the best grades, but I did do okay. And one component of psychology that we had to take was neuroscience, like an intro to neuroscience. And we learned about different areas in the brain and what they do. And I'm not going to make this podcast episode super sciencey, but I do want to mention a few things in psychology that we learned and things that I remember that relate to the kind of topic that I want to talk about in this episode, which is the things that we tell ourselves and why it's important to have a more uplifting and positive story. And there's this area or this network in your brainstem that acts like a filter, and it's called the reticular activating system, or the RAS for short. And what it does is it acts as a filter, letting in only the information that it thinks is important to you. And it's constantly sorting the overwhelming amount of information and data that we just experience and intake in the world around us based on what you've told it to look for. Through your focus, through your beliefs and your goals. And I'm going to talk about this in a little bit more depth later. But once you get clear about what it is you want, and you have this kind of mental blueprint, you could say, your brain is going to start scanning things in your environment for things that align with it. And this is where confirmation bias comes into play as well, which is basically the psychological tendency that we all have, which is we naturally look for and notice and also give more weight to information that confirms what we already believe to be true. If someone, for example, believes that people are rude, they'll notice every single act of rudeness and ignore the kindness in someone or in people generally. If you have a belief that you are becoming healthier or you are becoming a more disciplined person, you will notice yourself enjoying your workouts more. You'll feel proud when you skip fast food and choose something more healthy. And you start to see physical changes and take them as a sign of your progress, reinforcing your motivation to be healthy. Now, let's say, for example, you slip up and you skip a workout, or you eat something that you probably shouldn't eat. Rather than using the setback as proof that you're failing or not disciplined, you interpret it through the lens of your positive belief. So instead of thinking, look, I always mess up, I have no discipline, you'll start saying to yourself, okay, I didn't eat the way that I wanted to today, or I skipped my workout today, but that doesn't change who I'm becoming. It's all part of the process. I'm learning, and tomorrow I'll show up better for myself. So you acknowledge that you made a mistake, but you reframe it. So it keeps the core belief intact, which helps you maintain momentum, right? Like the confirmation bias still functions here, but in a healthy, growth-oriented way. You focus on the overall pattern of improvement rather than fixating on occasional slip-ups that you may have. So if you have a belief that you are improving and getting healthier and working out, if you genuinely believe that you are committed to what you're doing, you're going to acknowledge sometimes that you make mistakes, but you're going to focus on the fact that you're still improving. You're still on this path of improvement and getting healthier and getting more lean or getting more in shape or whatever your goal is. That's what confirmation bias does. And you won't even recognize it as a mistake. It's just part of the process, part of you learning to become better and be more in alignment with your vision or where it is you want to go, who it is you want to be. So the story we tell ourselves matters way more than we realize, and it shapes our perception, it influences our actions, and it directly affects what we see more of in the world around us. And when we get clear about what it is we truly want, whatever our goal is, whether it's getting healthier, whether it's building a business, or just feeling more at peace with yourself, we begin to train our brain to focus on what supports that vision. So if your example is to get leaner, if you're just going throughout your day, you're out grocery shopping, and you just notice yourself choosing healthier options at the grocery store, that's not just a random decision that you're making. It's a reflection of your internal story, starting to guide and influence your behavior externally. And that's a powerful moment for you to recognize and appreciate. When things like this happen, when you start to notice that you are acting in ways that are more in alignment with your vision or who it is you want to be, pause, be present, and show appreciation, show gratitude, express gratitude for the fact that it is happening right now before your eyes. When you notice things externally that confirm you are being the one that you would like to be, or things are getting more in alignment, actually acknowledge it. Because these seemingly small acknowledgements reinforce the belief that you are becoming the person you envision. And that belief is crucial because that's what shapes what you continue to notice. Confirmation bias. Our tendency to seek out and interpret information in ways that confirm what we already believe to be true in the world. When you believe things are working out for you, when you notice things are aligning, when you notice evidence that supports your story, that's confirmation bias. If you genuinely believe you are making progress, you are becoming more in alignment with who it is you want to be or where it is you want to go, you're getting more in alignment with where it is you want to go, your brain starts scanning for signs to prove you're right. And it's going to show you more things that prove that you're right. The more intentional and conscious you are of your mental narrative, consciously recognizing when your actions align with your goals and affirming that you're on the right track, you're in the right place, you're doing the right things, the more your brain literally helps you see and create a life that reflects that narrative. You're going to start showing up differently. You're going to start noticing progress more easily, reinforcing that belief, reinforcing that empowering belief that your vision is not just a possibility, but it's literally unfolding before your eyes. And by the way, this doesn't only reflect like your actions. Like you may see signs, synchronicities, things that just appear in your world that confirm you're on the right track. You may not have to do anything. You may just be driving your car. You may be going out for a walk and you'll notice things or see things or perceive things in your life that confirm, okay, I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. And it all just comes from your belief and the mental narrative. That's at least what I've noticed in my life. The story you tell yourself matters greatly. And when you start telling yourself a more uplifting story by confirming it's happening now, the vision is unfolding before my eyes, I am getting better. I'm at the grocery store. I have this clear vision in mind of me being healthier, of me being leaner. And I didn't even really consciously think about it. I just walked down the aisle and chose to pick up an item that's a lot healthier than the items that I normally pick up, and I just put it in my cart. It's happening. I have the belief. I have the vision in my mind. It's crystal clear. I know what I want. I know what I see for myself. I know that being healthier eating cleaner, going to the gym. I have this clear vision in my mind. So I'm going to act in ways that are in alignment with that vision. And when I do act in ways that are in alignment with that vision, I pause, I get present, and I tell myself in the moment, it's happening. I'm literally acting in a way that I would act if the vision was a reality. And the vision is a reality because it's happening before my eyes. You tell yourself that in the moment. Watch how you're going to start noticing way more things in your life that confirm it's happening now. The vision is no longer a possibility. It is literally unfolding before your eyes. That's how powerful your mental narrative is. And if you are not intentional with this, if you are not conscious about this, your brain will still tell a story. It just might not be the one that you want it to be. It can be disempowering. That narrative operates in the background. It's like a program. It's a setting. It can quietly and unconsciously shape your identity, your behavior, and it can be very limiting if you aren't intentional about it, right? Like you may not even realize that it's happening. If you unconsciously tell yourself, I'm not good enough, or things don't go my way, you may constantly second guess yourself or sabotage yourself or settle for things that you don't really want to settle for without realizing it because you have that program. If you tell yourself nothing is ever working out for me and you actually affirm that, like you're going to filter your experience to see things that confirm nothing is ever working out for you. You're going to reinforce that belief. Even when good things may happen, you're not going to acknowledge it because you're just programmed to look for the negative. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, they influence your actions. And your actions influence the kind of results that you see. So if the underlying story is negative or self-defeating, it's going to affect the way that you see the world around you and your life. So the key here ultimately is just being aware, catching yourself in the moment, catching the story you've been telling yourself, questioning where it came from. And then you can learn how to rewrite that story consciously, intentionally. And this doesn't have to be anything drastic. Like if you don't know exactly what it is you want now, I recommend spending some quiet time and really thinking about the kind of things that you want. But this could be for like the smallest of things. You know, like if you're not good at public speaking, you can start telling yourself, I am getting better at becoming a public speaker. Or if you're not as confident as you would like to be, you can start telling yourself every day I'm becoming more confident. And slowly over time, if you start telling yourself that and that becomes the dominant mental narrative, you'll start noticing things in your life that confirm every single day you are becoming more confident or you are becoming a better public speaker. And when you start telling yourself that it's happening in the moment because you see things in your life that confirm the changes that you made within, you may start seeing more and more things that confirm it's happening. I am more confident. I am a more confident version of myself today than I was yesterday. Or I am a better public speaker today than I was yesterday. And you tell yourself that. It really does not have to be anything massive or grand. If you tell yourself you are learning to become, or I am learning to become more consistent. I am building discipline and I am learning to become a more disciplined individual. The days that you show up for yourself and you recognize the progress that you're making, it doesn't matter how small it is, you're going to feel more encouraged to keep going. And if you recognize in the moment that you are being more consistent, you are showing up for yourself more, you are building that discipline, every day you do something that's in alignment with that belief, it reinforces that belief, which is going to give you more confidence to continue to move forward. And it's not like you're thinking of perfection. When you tell yourself every day I'm getting better and better, or every day I'm learning, I'm becoming more consistent, I am building discipline, that's true because every little small action you do that's in alignment with that belief is going to reinforce that belief. You're not telling yourself I'm perfect or I'm the most disciplined person ever. You're just acknowledging the fact that it's a process. the statement itself, I am building discipline, or every day I am becoming a more disciplined person, frames discipline not as something you either have or don't have. It's not binary. It's not yes or no. It's something that takes time to develop. And you're confirming the fact that that's true. Every small decision that's in alignment with that belief, I am becoming more disciplined. When you do things that are in alignment with that belief, you become more confident, you become more empowered. So what I'm talking about here, confirming the positive changes that you've made within when you see them externally, it doesn't have to be necessarily for this grand vision that you have for your life. It can be very small, nuanced things that you're just committed to as well. Like, I am learning to become more disciplined, or I am building self-discipline, or I am learning to trust myself more, or I am someone who follows through with the commitments I make, or I am becoming more present, or becoming more grounded, or I am becoming less reactive. It doesn't have to be this massive grand vision, of who it is you want to be. It can be these small little things that you want to improve as well, right? Like the things I just listed, like they don't sound grand, but they're still transformative. They still change how you show up moment to moment in your life. So every time you act in alignment with that vision, even if it's small, everyday ways, tell yourself it's happening. Like, I'm getting more in alignment. It's happening now. Regardless of how small that win is, appreciating it, recognizing it, being grateful for it is what I'm talking about here. And it's absolutely a game changer. Telling yourself it's happening in the moment right now. So I don't think there's anything else I wanted to talk about in this recording. Thank you for being here. I know I've mentioned this in the past, but I wanted to make like a more in-depth episode on this because this stuff I feel like is so important. The story that goes on in our heads, like the mental narrative that goes on, is so important. And when you take control and like consciously, intentionally start telling yourself a better story, a more uplifting story, your life, I feel like, will change for the better. And I know it's done that for me. I haven't always been someone who's had the most positive mental narrative, but when I was more intentional with the kind of things that I told myself, my life improved, I felt like. So that's why I'm just sharing it. I hope you got some value from listening to this. If you have any comments or questions, you can always DM me on TikTok at samwisebroad_ or message me on Instagram at presence of being. Leaving a like or a comment or subscribing, all of that stuff does a lot. If you want to support what we're building here at Presence of Being, you can go to presenceofbeing.co and grab a hat. And I just thank you very much for being here. Leave a positive review on the podcast as well if you haven't and you enjoy listening to these recordings. And thank you again. I hope you're having a great day wherever you're listening to this, and I will see you in the next recording very soon.